I'm becoming more and more convinced that the reason why so many people these days are walking around with such high levels of epistemic certainty is to do with the fact that we are dealing with a spiritual battle. And the reason I think that is because I don't I can't see another explanation for why we as people wouldn't realize the gap between our own intellectual limitations, our own ability to comprehend the world, and the immeasurable levels of sophistication that the world represents for us to try and understand. The the IQ threshold to understand that gap, just to understand that that gap exists, is very low. It's a very simple concept for someone to understand that the human mind, in its simplicity compared to the world and its complexities, uh, can't get even close to being able to understand all those endless variables. The which variables do we not know about? The unknown variables. How do we weight each variable? How do we know what we're being told is true? All these endless complexities that the world represents, and yet at the same and the simplicity of the human mind, relatively, we would think that people would understand that a bit better, and that they wouldn't be walking around 100% sure of everything. Yet they are, and the as I say, the threshold for understanding that concept is very low. You could explain that to someone with a very low IQ, and they would understand that the world is much more complicated than our minds are capable of understanding. So I don't think that the explanation is IQ, and I don't think the explanation is uh, psychology either. Personality. Some people might say, well, they're insecure, and so they want to tell themselves they know. There's not enough. There's a lot of insecurity around these days in the West, but I don't think there's enough insecurity to account for that, because the number of people that are sure that they've understood all of history, everything that's happening geopolitically all around the world, is too high for it to be accounted for by people being insecure. So I don't think it's an IQ issue. I don't think it's an issue to do with personality profile or um, being insecure. I think it has to do with, if you look at the diversity of people that have that, what I call epistemic certainty, it could be people that are more simpleton types that watch BBC still, or it could be people that are kind of expert types, scientists, doctors, um, people that are come from ostensibly well-educated background. It's an absolute diverse mix of people that are certain of things. Now, those people that are high in certainty are all high in certainty on the side of the state. So I think they're working with things like perverse incentives. I think uh, they're working, their certainty comes from not knowing the subject. It comes from being on the side of what I think is a spiritual evil, and despite not knowing the subject, taking that side anyway for the perceived rewards that they think they will get. It's basically like weaponizing sin. You get to boast that you're on the side of science, even though the concept is made up. it's like it's like telling someone that they've just won the lottery and seeing how they behave, but it's not true. And then a week later, they're told it's not real, and you get to see how they treat people. It's kind of like that. They get to have the power of the state on their side, and they get to be told that they're intelligent and on the side of the good people. They're moral, they're intellectual, they're cultured, etc. But none of it's true. So it's like a test of their sinful nature. And so that's why I think it's spiritual, because everyone's susceptible to it, from people from all walks of life, different personality types, different classes, different backgrounds, and I don't see another explanation other than it's spiritual. Why couldn't people just reduce their level of certainty down, say that they don't know, operate with different hypotheses? And the ones that do are the ones that are against the state. And why do they do that? Because when you are against the state in any regime, the worst thing you could do is lie, because the truth is the only weapon you have. They have all the state apparatus on their side. When they lie, it's powerful because they have all the state machinery to prop up those lies, which makes those lies very powerful. But if we as individuals lie, that makes us weaker, much weaker. So when we're individuals going against the state with no institutions on our side, the only thing we have is like the sword of truth, and that is powerful. But it has to be true. And if we rely on truth, that means we rely on hypotheses a lot, because we don't know. We can't possibly know for sure. Whereas if your only objective is to be on the side of the state and get the reward that you want for being on the side of the state, it doesn't matter if it's true. So you don't need to be a probabilistic thinker. You don't need to operate according to different hypotheses and weigh things, say you don't know. Like if someone's pretending to know a subject, just ask them 5 questions and they'll answer all 5, because they're pretending. And that's why they've always got an answer for something, even if it's just a simplistic Pavlovian response. You know, like how the simpletons speak. They just say the same thing for everything. It needs to be an answer. Ask someone that knows the subject, someone who's really studied a subject, questions that they don't know the answer to, and they'll just say they don't know. So we're dealing with something that is two very different phenomena spiritually. And so many people are noticing now that this is a spiritual issue. So many people. And I just wanted to add that as a thought for the day.